Welcome to once again another edition of Nerd and Tie.
Hooray!
What?
Coming at you live from the Nerdadome, the unstoppable Trey Dorn,
I'm wearing pants, but you can't see.
the unbeatable Professor Fur.
I am unbeatable. They tried to beat me this weekend, but it was not possible. They couldn't do it. I'm here. I am mentally mostly here, but I am here.
And I am
With
the
a little help from my friends.
And I am the unfilmable Nick Izumi.
Oh,
It's true.
Aw.
You can't actually film him, or else you're like you can't. He's got a weird vampire thing going on. Can't be picked up by film.
It's
Skype
like Godzilla
needs to
2000.
update their iPad client.
Also, because vampire. Nick's actually a ghost.
Really?
Woo!
Actually, see, that's spooky. You couldn't be that spooky if you were a ghost. Just saying.
So,
Yeah.
have you read Unbeatable Squirrel Girl yet?
I have. I loved it.
Because I think it's... I know we're only like one episode into 2015, but I think it's going to be our comic of the year.
I can already tell it's going to be the comic of the year just because of how it reminds me of a little bit of Deadpool and how meta it is, but at the same time it's its own sort of feeling. I mean, even the way it ended with "What's the worst that could happen?" Next issue, the worst that could happen.
I'm looking forward to reading it. I really am.
Yes. It's,
I have
I was-
not gotten a
it's quite
chance to
good.
look at it yet.
And I was right in saying that it's something I'd let my 5-year-old read because I read it to her probably 2 or 3 times tonight, and she loved it. I mean, we had it in the car on the way home from school, and she was looking at the pictures. We got home, I read it to her. I love it. It's great. I love that Ryan North is writing it. It's perfect.
Oh, yeah, Ryan. Yeah. He's
I
a
look
funny
forward-
guy.
How's that? I look forward to taking a look at it. Well, we have a lot on the docket tonight. For
Oh,
our
my, yes, we do.
nerd
It's a big
discussion.
one.
Yeah, we can. So we don't want to waste too much time. Let's start out with things happy on that marvelous note. Let's look at some
Oh.
stuff that. See what I did
See
there?
what you did there, Nick. Clever.
We're going to be going into some Marvel stuff tonight. Firstly, the Daredevil Netflix series has a release date. Huzzah!
Finally.
April 10th, the Daredevil Netflix series, the 13-episode series, is going to premiere on Netflix. Like all other Netflix shows, all 13 episodes will be uploaded at once, so you can binge watch that shiznit.
There goes my weekend.
In April.
Starring indeed, it will be starring Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, and we got to look at the costume. It's very simplistic. It's apparently going to be super gritty. I guess I'm excited for this.
Yeah,
I'll
and Vincent
watch it.
D'Onofrio is going to play Kingpin.
That's a good casting pick.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Well, I mean, it's just I'm excited to see where this is going to take the Marvel Cinematic Universe going into the Age of Ultron here, because it's going to be tied in.
Well,
So-
I don't think it's going to
Not
tie into Age of
necessarily.
Ultron.
Maybe
I think
maybe Phase 3.
they're trying to build a whole Defenders thing, and they're talking 8 months to a year between each series. Like Jessica Jones originally was supposed to premiere in 2015, but because they're only starting production now, it likely won't actually hit Netflix until 2016. So if we've got to go like a year between each series, or I think there's probably only going to be like 8 months between Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. Like they're going to be their own phase effectively.
I'm
I'm
really good with that.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
so they're going to be in the Marvel universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe proper. It's just that I because they're trying to do this localized thing, it's not going to cross over with the rest of it for a while.
I'm really good with that though, because I'll admit that I am starting to feel the Marvel burnout. So I'm going to need some breaks. I'm going to need some big breaks before I can get too involved. I never thought I'd get the burnout, but I am starting to kind of feel the burnout.
Well, it's like half the news on our website this last week. Like from Monday to Thursday, almost everything was exclusively like Marvel Universe related.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about though. Is that there's so much happening that I'm having a little bit of trouble staying excited, and I hate feeling that way. I really do. Ugh, I feel dirty.
Well, thankfully, I mean, we're gonna have a little bit of time in between here. Once Age of Ultron comes out, we're gonna have a few months before anything new Marvel comes out. So hopefully, we're gonna have a nice little news break from Marvel because they've essentially laid out all of Phase 3. All we're gonna be getting now, I think, from here on out, is gonna be casting news up until Phase 3 kicks off, which will be nice. It'll be a nice change of pace.
Which will be a welcome change of pace.
We had a slight little recording glitch with the audio.
All right.
I don't know why, but we're just going to keep trucking.
Okay. Are we good to keep going?
Yeah, it's audio listeners will have heard Fer get cut off mid-sentence and then me apologizing for it. Video viewers have me interrupting him.
As is oft wont to happen. But anyway, so we've got a release date for Daredevil, which is cool. We also finally, I think, I'm the funniest. Like I enjoyed this little jerk around from Marvel. Last week on Monday night or Sunday night rather, we got an ant-sized teaser trailer for the Ant-Man teaser trailer. It was probably maybe 2 pixels wide. You really couldn't see anything.
It was pretty funny.
It was pretty funny. They did eventually release a human-sized teaser trailer for the actual trailer that premiered during Agent Carter last Tuesday night. And man, I don't know. I'm excited for Ant-Man. I was kind of on the fence about Ant-Man before. What with all the switch ups, Edgar Wright getting let go as director, them basically canning the script and starting over again. But it looks like it's going to be a fun heist movie. At
I'm
least
cautiously
what I got
optimistic.
From the trailer. Also, just to hear Paul Rudd be like, one last thing: is it too late to change the name? I loved that line.
That line is what I'm most torn on, though, because part of me is like, that was really funny, and then another part of me is like, I'm having flashbacks to all those superhero movies that were produced like around the year 2000, and then when they would do these adaptations, and then the actor would be like, I'm too cool to be the Phantom. That was a crappy example, the Phantom specifically.
I was going to say the Phantom had a really faithful costume.
But you know what I mean, though, right?
There are many things wrong with the Billy Zane Phantom movie, but the costume was not one of them.
But you guys know what? I'm not so much talking about the costume, but when the actors, when the characters' take on it, written into the movie is, I'm too cool to be X character.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like in the line in X-Men, what would you rather be wearing yellow spandex?
Yeah, that kind of thing, precisely.
Well, I mean, I agree to a point, but also I think it just kind of shows the whole. I think it's kind of a little bit of a meta joke about how this has been kind of the Ant-Man movie was kind of thrown together at the last minute.
No, I know it's a meta joke, and I get it, and I like it, but that voice in the back of my head, it keeps reminding me of that, and it's hard to make that voice shut up. So.
Well, we've got a couple of months for that voice to kind of be maybe eased in because the official launch date, the official release date for Ant-Man is July 15th, 2015.
Well, okay, so with the Ant-Man thing, the reason why the name joke didn't bother me is because he's playing Scott Lang. It's not like it's like Captain America. Steve Rogers is the first Captain America. Tony Stark is the first Iron Man. He's playing someone taking over someone else's name. So that's why I think it's fine.
Like, okay, that's fair.
That's actually why I think it's the only appropriate time to make that joke.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited for Ant-Man. I think it's going to be good.
I am as well.
Yes.
All right. Well, what else do we have on the docket? Looking at something from the Marvel Universe, but not quite as marvelous, but still related to tiny bugs.
And hilarious.
Hilariousness.
There was news of a casting call going out for Spider-Man 3 in these last couple of weeks. The Amazing Spider-Man 3, I should clarify, which had a lot of us confused and scratching our heads going, well, I thought that movie wasn't going to happen. Isn't poor Isn't poor I can't remember his name now. Andrew Garfield in the
Oh,
yeah, didn't he?
story of his life.
Did he just get squashed by the Kleenex? Like, is that the end of his spider life? And then it's like, well, is this casting call going out? Is it legit? No, it was not legit. Some guy was just being a jackknob, getting actors' hopes up for a Spider-Man movie that is not going to happen. Oh.
Yeah, this was like one of those notorious scams where like wannabe actors are tricked into paying money for things that an actor shouldn't be paying money for. So it's like what amazes me is that this scam company really picked the wrong property to drum up a fake sequel for, because like out of anything that's like under the microscope, it is the Spider-Man franchise right now. So like
or
this guy's had
shambling remains of the Spider-Man franchise.
This guy's had his scam company exposed to the internet because he picked the wrong sequel. What I thought was funny is how many news sites picked it up and then didn't post the correction.
That's actually depressing.
Like,
that last
the
part.
whole reason we're talking about in this episode is, like, I suggested it for the docket because I want to make sure that people know Amazing Spider-Man 3 not happening at least this year.
Currently, yeah.
Like I think 2018 was the date, like, pitched for it, if I'm, recalling correctly.
It was supposed to be a ways off, yeah.
If it happens, it's not going to be till 2018.
Not looking good for poor Andy, though.
Yeah, man, that guy. I feel bad for him, too. Because I thought he did a pretty decent job as Peter Parker.
I thought he was great, as so long as we're saying that he's Brian Michael Bendis Peter Parker. He's fantastic as that Peter Parker. He's perfect, actually.
Yeah.
All I know is that I want Spider-Man to get back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe just so they can recast it with Donald Glover.
Yes. Here.
That would be amazing.
I'd be game.
Yeah, I'd be all for that.
Oh, man. So
we also, continuing kind of along the superhero news front, man, we got a lot of that this week. Goodness.
A lot of crazy rumors. Crazy rumors.
Just announced, I think today, if not today, just yesterday, January 11th, this was announced. If you have a show on the CW...
You totally just skipped something in the lineup.
Yeah.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. I'm
because
sorry. Because
before we can go to hopeful, before we go to anything happy, we need to take a trip to the DC Carnival of Sadness.
Oh.
All right.
Trey, you're really getting good use out of that new soundboard.
I'm so happy, folks. We upgraded the equipment this episode. So
that just made this segment so much better.
Our budget just went through the roof, apparently. We have a budget now.
But yeah, no. Legend has it that one of my favorite rumors came out this week, and we reported on it not because we believed it for a second,
because it's hilarious.
But because it's hilarious. You see, we all know about the upcoming Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. I'm sorry, Dawn of Justice. Had to get that out right.
Perfect.
And
perfect.
Abuse of sound effects, folks. My favorite review was so somebody sent a what they claimed was a iPhone photo of the end of the teaser trailer for Batman vs. Superman, which revealed that the movie had been split into two films, the first of which would come out early, like on October. And of course, and they sent this to Latino Review, which they'll report any rumor you send them. So of course it exploded across the blogosphere. And Henry Cavill himself has come out and said it's not true, that the film hasn't been split into two movies. Thank you, Random Ramblings Man, for updating me on that in the chat room. But Yeah, it was this bizarre thing where it was supposed to be like split into Enter the Night as the first one in October, and then Dawn of Justice being Batman vs. Superman Part 2 in the spring, which, admittedly, they're cramming so much stuff into this movie that it probably would have been a better idea than what they're actually doing, but, yeah, no. It's just going to be one movie, folks.
To be fair, it's literally going to be a clown car of entering superheroes. like, oh, doorbell rings. Oh, hey, Martian Manhunter, I see you brought Green Lantern with you. It's what it's going to come down to. It's going to be awful.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be absolutely terrible. But yeah, so that was my favorite. My favorite rumor this list last week. I love the blurry iPhone. I'm like, who, like, it's so obviously not real. I could have faked that screenshot in about 2 minutes.
The thing is, though, the best part about any time news comes out about this movie, news or rumors or anything, there's this small contingent of hardcore DC fans who come out and are like, you guys just wait, this is gonna be DC's day. You're gonna be sorry you made fun of this.
I will never be sorry for making fun of DC.
All I can say is that if there had been a film called Enter the Night, then following it up with The Dawn of Justice might have actually made some sense.
Yeah. Wow.
It would have been a dumb joke.
But it would have made sense.
It would have made more sense. Of course, the fact that we're using the legal V versus the more common VS for the versus abbreviation, it's just dumb. And has caused me to type in the website wrong multiple times.
What do you... this is Zack Snyder, though. He's about as subtle as a train wreck. God.
Oh, dear.
Perfect. So... it's not going to be 2 movies. It's going to barely be 1 movie.
It's going to be 1 movie.
It's going to be the opposite problem of Peter Jackson's The Hobbit.
They're going to have too much in one movie.
They're going to have too much in one movie.
It's really going to be like it's going to be Golden Corral. There's just going to be everything there. And you're going to
Chocolate Fountain. You know, I've never been to a Golden Corral. I live like 2 blocks from one.
The Golden Corral of superhero movies.
Just as likely to give you an infection and food poisoning.
I'm about to say, you're still going to get food poisoning.
I've never been to Golden Corral, but all I can think of with that chocolate fountain is, man, that cannot be sanitary.
No. Oh, good God.
Who thought that was a good idea? A buffet chocolate fountain. What?
I get it.
Wonka reference.
I got it. I got your back, man. I got you.
Thank you.
I didn't hear it. I was too busy talking.
No, I said Augustus is already stuck in it now as we speak.
See, Ferd, did you try to fist bump your camera?
I did. I was fist bumping Nick through the computer.
We could actually fist bump on screen.
I
other
can't
direction.
Even see
other direction.
You doing that.
Other direction, Fur. I'm on the other side of you. There we go.
Got it. Nailed it.
Third time's the charm.
I got it. We're gonna explode it.
Ba-la-la-la.
Beautiful.
People listening to the audio version totally got everything out of that little moment there.
No, well, we described it pretty well. I mean, that's really, truly the magic of radio.
It's true.
Right?
Well, it's like, maybe like hardly anybody watches the video version. We have way more audio listeners than we do video watchers, so it's important that we focus all of our energy on the version that hardly anyone's paying attention to.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I agree. So, but guys, Dawn of Justice, 1 movie.
One movie. And that will end the franchise, and DC will stop making movies for 10 years. Right.
It'll be great. And then they'll try and reboot with another Superman
They'll reboot
movie.
Batman in 5 more years after that.
Won't that put all those people cast in Suicide Squad out of work, though? I mean, do they want to kill the franchise just yet?
Well, I'm just saying, if Dawn of Justice does poorly, none of this extended plan is happening.
Well, they haven't greenlit most of the extended plan anyway, so...
Well, yeah, they've lied about the extended plan. Like, when Marvel makes an announcement, they've actually greenlit production.
DC is just... Oh, that's sad.
There's got to be something happy on the DC side of things. There has to be.
There is, and it comes in the form of their television, their television universe, because it's really the only thing they've got going for them. So, just a big congratulations to the CW, or to really anybody that has a show on the CW, because if you have a show on the CW, a scripted television show
that came out in the fall,
you've been renewed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even the 100 is getting another season.
Wait, really?
I didn't even know it had a second season.
Every show that came out in the fall that's scripted on the CW is getting renewed. Most importantly, though, amongst those, The Flash, Arrow, and Supernatural all have been renewed for another season.
Yay!
So
Yay.
that's pretty big, because I know we were kind of even talking about how we were all kind of wary if The Flash might not even get a second season. Not that it's not been doing well, but based on how DC's trying to work their cinematic universe, thankfully they're kind of staying hands off the television universe for the time being and giving Flash a second season.
Which is fantastic because it's like just goes with this Reverse Flash thing. And Arrow, I'm hoping that they do at least 5 seasons total, so that way we can have 1 year in the present to match all of Oliver's years when he was gone. But
yeah, well, okay, so with the whole thing with the Flash and Arrow, I think it's great that those two got renewed, and I think that's the big part of the story. I do want to take a moment to mention that Supernatural got renewed for an 11th season.
that's kind of insane.
And if it gets renewed twice more, people born the day it premiered will finally age into the demographic for the CW.
Okay, that's really weird. That's really, really weird. I'm not comfortable with that.
Because, 13 is kind of the young end of their range for what they're trying to target.
Does that mean they can just start the whole show over again?
Man. Hey, remember, when Supernatural premiered, besides the fact that we had 3 Law and Orders on the air, Veronica Mars was still on the air. Gilmore Girls was on the air. Arrested Development was still on Fox. Like, think about the television world that has changed within the length of Supernaturals. There are people like, man, like, it's amazing.
That is
incredible.
Pretty awe-inspiring.
Yeah. So, I think that's bizarre. I mean, they're getting to Law and Order. They are trying to do another Supernatural spin-off. Bloodlines failed as a backdoor pilot, so that never happened, but so yeah, no, they're trying again.
Why not? You've built up enough lore with this series. You got to at least find some way to possibly shoehorn in a spin-off, right?
Well, what I love at the 200th episode, the comment that Jensen Ackles looked too old to be Dean. Oh, man. Because Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles are not young guys anymore.
A little bit.
I mean, they're not old, because I'm not old.
You keep telling yourself that, Trey.
But I'm in the same age range as those guys. It's like not a joke. That's just the reality. I'm pretty much the same age as those two.
I was just giving you crap, but that is really weird.
I am 2 years older than Jared Padalecki. And Google tells me if I can spell his name right. Google doesn't want to look and find out how old Jensen Ackles is.
It's okay. He was Jason Todd one time.
He's
Just
got to
let that
be
burn for a little bit.
30
Oh,
around
he's
then,
older than
right?
30.
35.
Well, it's Jared Padalecki's 32. So
It got weird. The show
It
just
did.
got weird.
The show just got weird.
Can we
Why
move
don't we-
forward? Because this is
Let's-
getting weird.
Yes, let's.
okay,
Did
so
you guys-
Jensen Ackles is 36.
Jeez.
I'm
okay.
directly
Wow.
between the ages of those two.
And only slightly more attractive, Trey.
I'm fat and balding. It's not fair those assholes have their hair.
Boom. All right.
Maybe one of
Moving on. Congratulations if you have a show on the CW. You've been renewed. Good job.
But-
good work, everybody.
Talking about the CW and the Arrowverse, there is a third series entering the Arrowverse.
There is.
yeah?
And it's an animated series.
That okay.
So it's not going to be on the CW. It's going to be on CWC, the CW's online-only network.
Okay.
But Vixen, one of the most prominent women of color in DC Comics, actually, I think their first major character who was a woman of color in DC Comics, she premiered, I think, in 1981. She was supposed to premiere in 1978, but then DC, like, financially had bizarre issues and fell apart, and so she didn't actually end up premiering till like 81. She, at one time, led the Justice League, and her cartoon is going to hit CWC, and it's same producers as Arrows and Flash, and will take place in the Arrowverse.
It's looking like they're going with the character designs from the recent straight-to-video animated movies, because the Flash in their preview image looks like the one from Flashpoint Paradox, which is weird because he's way more muscular than Grant Gustin. And which is also funny because their animated Oliver looks way less muscular than Stephen Amell.
Well, the two of them kind of averaged in size.
A little bit. I can see that.
Yeah.
I'll probably take a look at that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, no. And so if it does well, it means the character might be introduced in the live-action shows. Who knows?
Which would be really cool.
But the Arrow and Flash will cross over into her animated series.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
are
I
we
know-
going to see... We're going to see it cross over to the live action then at some point.
Well, we don't know
that
if
for
her
sure.
stuff's going to appear in their shows, but their stuff is going to appear in her show.
And we know for certain Stephen Amell is really good with voice acting. Like, in the recent Lego Batman 3, he is Green Arrow in that game. So, like, he's good with that. So, that'll be fine. Hopefully. I hope they don't do what happened with, like, this... And now I'm going to bring up something that everyone likes to forget happened, but there was the Supernatural anime.
There was. It
That
was 2
Jen-
seasons, right?
That Jensen... No, it only had one season, but Jensen
But it told the
Ackles was
story
only
from
in
the first 2 seasons of the
episodes
live-action show.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
But
people
yeah,
hated them.
Jensen Ackles was only in 2 episodes of it, and an impersonator did the rest of the episodes.
They.
I've wanted to watch that so much.
It's out there. I mean,
I
it's
know,
easy
but-
to find, Trey. You don't have to go all the way to Australia to get it. I
But
mean,
it's not legally streaming anywhere that I've been able to find, and I don't steal stuff anymore when it comes to anime.
Good.
That's okay.
Oh yeah, and there is discussion about Brandon Ruth getting a spin-off, possibly.
Oh, for
as
Firestorm?
Adam.
I would watch the
It's
crap
Adam.
out of
Right,
that.
Adam. It's like
I'm
he's
just
Adam.
going to say that right now. He's so good on Arrow. I would watch the crap out of just him being Ray Palmer and being a dick to people. Because that's pretty much his job.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
so I love Brendan Ruth. He should have stayed Superman, but I'm okay having him be Adam.
I think Nick said that. Nick made that comment in the pre-show. He said Superman Returns came out and it was good, but nobody liked it, but everybody was wrong. or something like that.
Exactly. Superman, we can't get anything good in the Superman family anymore. We got Superman Returns. It was great, but nobody liked it, and everyone was wrong.
Perfectly succinct.
Oh dear.
Oh man, that is a fantastic. I just want to point out for the audio listeners at home, this doesn't mean anything, but the splash image you used for Nick of him in his Constantine cosplay is phenomenal, Trey.
Thank you.
That's a good pick.
I want to use that more. We have more stuff for Nick. Also, besides Constantine, we can put him in a dress,
which I've done, and which I'm probably going to do again.
And we can make him the Joker.
Huzzah!
Let's put a smile on your face.
Oh, dear Lord. Meanwhile, audio listeners are like, what the hell are they doing? Which is, again, funny because we have way more audio listeners than we do viewers.
Well, to appease our audio listeners, let's talk about another... we went from live action to animation. Let's take the trip back.
Yeah, let's step back to live action. And Nick, what have we got coming at us? This story kind of took the internet.
What we have is rage.
Storm this last week.
What we have is indignant rage, frankly. So the Ghost in the Shell movie, the live-action Hollywood-produced Ghost in the Shell movie, not to be confused with Production IG doing another animated Ghost in the Shell movie right now, but the live-action one Hollywood is producing is storming on ahead, and they have picked their lead actor. Or actress in this case. So who is playing Motoko Kusanagi? Are we going with an experienced action film star like Ming-Na Wen, or perhaps a favorite Japanese actress who's already done in crazy anime hair and was fantastic in, pardon, what we've seen her in, like Rinko Kikuchi? Of course not. We're going to have Scarlett Johansson play Motoko Kusanagi.
Oh.
Can we take a moment to appreciate that the first really big role Scarlett Johansson had as an adult was the movie where she was a woman in Japan feeling totally out of place? Because that seems really appropriate right now.
Man.
Jeez,
Why would now? Now a lot of sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm at a loss for words. I've
heard people try to defend this, and it's the same defense as I heard with Dragon Ball Evolution, but replaced Alien with Cyborg. It's, well, they're a cyborg, so she could pick anybody, but she just happened to pick a white one. And once again, we take an Asian superhero, an Asian female superhero, or at least, iconic character, and we turn them into a white person. Why?
Box office draw, Nick.
Well, yeah, I know it's box office draw, but it doesn't make it okay.
No,
I love
really
Scarlett
doesn't.
Johansson.
Yeah.
She's a fantastic actress, but she's the wrong person for this part.
Yeah, I think we need a jingle for that. Everything is terrible.
That was horrifying.
But everything is terrible in this case. It's not even that Scarlett Johansson couldn't play a character like Motoko Kusanagi. It's that they took a part that could have gone to a woman of color, an Asian woman, and they gave it to a white woman.
Well, yeah, also, I have a huge problem with this because Ghost in the Shell is such a fundamentally Japanese series. So much of the exploration has to do with Japanese society and culture that I must either one or two things is going to happen. Either they're going to set it in America and totally strip away the cultural context that actually kind of is important for the series and what makes it kind of notable, or they're going to have her playing a Japanese character who is taken on a Western-looking cyborg, and there's a whole lot of other cultural implications then that you start having.
Yeah, and it's just uncomfortable. I mean, yeah, the Ghost in the Shell film and television series at least reference Western philosophers a lot, but it is such a fundamentally Japanese story, and it's just wrong. This is really just wrong.
I've really got nothing else to add to it other than that. I mean, it's one thing to take a movie and do a full adaptation of it. I mean, like, as long as you can base something on something. Like I always give the example of the Magnificent Seven,
which is still an inferior film, but
it's an inferior film. But like, at least it's an adaptation. They're kind of making it its own thing. In which case, that's fine. If they wanted to take Ghost in the Shell, adapt it, make it something different than fundamentally different than the source material, but work it in a way that it would make sense and whatnot, that's fine too. But the thing is, they're doing a straight from adaptation of Ghost in the Shell. I mean, it's going to be the story. It's going to be everything else. Why would you take those steps to deviate from the story that much if you're going to make it similar to the story?
And here's the other thing, is that they've already done an Americanized adaptation of Ghost in the Shell, and they did it back in 1999. It was called The Matrix. That was literally what their goal was. The Wachowski brothers actually showed Warner Brothers clips from the Mamoru Oshii film Ghost in the Shell and said, we want to make this live action.
Right. Well, I mean, Ghost in the Shell, though, I mean, the Matrix influence of Ghost in the Shell was almost all just visual. Like, they wanted to replicate the visuals of it. The soul and the story, I think, of Ghost in the Shell and the Matrix are very different. Did the Wachowskis rip off their entire visual style down to the green falling text from Ghost in the Shell? Yes.
Yeah, very
much. Oh my God,
yes.
But yeah. But actually, that's how you do that, right? Like, if you want to make a Western version of that property, you don't make that property. You make a different film that borrows the neat stuff.
I was about to say, yeah, because, I mean, like, the crux of Magnificent Seven is... Oh, sorry.
What?
What?
What, Nick?
Why are you apologizing?
I had some distortion on my audio on my end.
Oh,
we did on ours.
Yeah, keep going, man.
Okay, well... What I was going to say, though, is that, like, the same thing happened with Magnificent Seven, though. I mean, the fundamental core of Magnificent Seven is completely different. It's not a tragedy about glorifying war that ends up scarring a bunch of people at the end. It's a bunch of guys everyone thinks are heroes, and shock and awe, they're heroes. You know, There's no twist. So, everything is terrible. That makes me sad.
Everything is terrible.
Yeah.
Let's continue on into the world of weird that we've gone into.
Well,
sure. Yeah, why not, Trey?
The next story is not necessarily terrible.
This one isn't terrible. It's.
So, some of you who listened to the last episode may remember that one of my top picks for a convention for 2014 was Nezumi Con, a small con that's run in Milwaukee every January, and which I'm going to be at on January 24th.
Oh yeah.
Well, interestingly enough, they actually made an announcement this last week, January 8th, actually, that the Nezumi Con, which had been run by a student organization at MIAD, the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, had been taken over by the ECPS, the Entertainment and Cultural Promotion Society, which is the organization that runs Anime Milwaukee.
Huh.
This means that what was an independent convention is now being merged into Wisconsin's largest anime convention organizational staff. Now, I have mixed thoughts about this.
I already have mixed thoughts.
Now, Nezumi Con has been trying to expand for a while, and they last summer run an Indiegogo campaign to try to raise money to expand to a larger event, and they laid out a plan where they wanted to move to a fall date. And what happened is that the Indiegogo campaign just didn't take off. They ended up raising like 10% of their goal. And so they're in a quandary right now. I mean, this is a student organization. They've run this, I think, this is their 4th year this year. And it's been mostly the brainchild of one particular staffer, as far as I've been able to tell. Like, I don't know this from inside sources. I just know based on communications and things I've read online that Leticia Figueroa was kind of the main driving force behind this. But it's a college, and if she hasn't graduated already, she's got to be graduating soon. So you've got a college staff aging out, unable to generate the funds that they wanted to do for their expansion, and move to other groups. Now, the ECPS is based out of Milwaukee. They run a large, successful convention, and honestly, if you're trying to expand and you're in Nezumi Con's position, there aren't a lot of choices if you can't raise the money yourself.
Right.
So by them going to, I mean, Anime Milwaukee is run by a nonprofit. The ECPS is a nonprofit organization. They have vast resources. I mean, NezumiCon being taken over by these guys and being transitioned to a fall convention means they automatically have access to funds, resources, equipment. I mean, money. Like,
Right.
think about the difference there. And so, while, you know, and you know what, to tell you the truth, it's not like the rest of the Wisconsin conventions have reached out to these guys. It's, you know, 10 years ago, you would have seen someone like No Brand Con reaching out and trying to help fund people, but that's not happening right now because people don't know it's there. I think a lot of Milwaukee area conventions have been neglected by the larger convention community. I'm getting controversial here. I think that there's far less outreach happening to the Milwaukee conventions than there used to be. And so what's going on is these guys are taking help from where they can find it, and there are a lot worse people. There are a lot more worse people they could have taken help from.
Oh,
in
absolutely.
fact, as I've
Right.
occasionally been accidentally sent their meeting notes, there at least is one individual who will go unnamed who has been in contact with them historically.
Well, thank God that didn't go through.
So that didn't
that's
happen,
true.
and
Thank
so
God.
at least these. Okay, so Anime Milwaukee, I've sometimes had some. I've sometimes felt that they're a little more disorganized than some of the other convention staffs that are out there, but at least they're well intentioned. They are coming from the right philosophical state, even if they don't always execute perfectly. So
I can see that.
So I'm going to view this with cautious optimism. It's if they want to expand, they didn't have a lot of other choices, and there are a lot worse choices they could have made. So, and I say this as a person who's got to go walk in front of a whole bunch of NezumiCon people in like a week and a half, in like 2 weeks or whatever. But yeah.
Well, you know, it's going to work out for them because, I mean, like, let's be honest here. Anime Milwaukee is a good group of people. I love the AMKey staff. Every year they put on a good show. They've gotten better at running their convention in a larger city. A couple years ago, they seemed to be not really fully aware of how big of a convention they actually had. Last year it seemed to be a lot better. And I'm excited to see what it's going to be in a month. Like, see how they've adapted. They seem to be a little bit more organized than they've been the last couple of years, at least leading up to the con. So it's good to see a group like Anime Milwaukee reach out to Nezumi Con, who, as you said, was having a little bit of trouble getting that attention. But I'm glad to see AMKey is taking maybe a step to really take their place as they're understanding that they're the biggest anime con, the biggest convention in Wisconsin. They're understanding that, which I think is a good thing for the con scene.
Can I just take a moment to point out that Fur has kind of, I think your new nickname on the show, Fur, should be Brightside Fur, because no matter what we report on, unless it's the DC Carnival of Sadness, you go in with 100% certainty it will be good.
I like to give the benefit of the doubt to things,
But
Nick. Is that
there's
so
a fine
wrong?
line between benefit of the doubt and this will definitely be perfect.
It might be that I'm looking through painkiller colored glasses right now.
No. You do this every other episode, so I don't think the painkillers are it.
But
Literally every episode.
I like to have hope, and I like to think that things are going to be good. And is that so wrong, I ask you?
Well, and that's the thing, is that, like, the Anime Milwaukee people are... I've had good experiences with their staff, talking to them, and, you know, even when I have criticisms historically...
they've addressed them, and they've addressed them,
well,
and they've fixed them.
Well, my point is that I never feel like... They're never coming from a place of malice.
Yeah,
so
there we go.
That's a big thing for me.
Yeah,
precisely what Trey was saying. No, I've had some generally good experiences with the AMKey staff, and just like Trey said, if they do things that I think are dumb or I don't agree with, it never seems like they're doing it to be spiteful or mean, which is
right
more important if you ask me.
Yeah. So with this whole setup, I think it's going to be I think it's a good thing for Nezumi Con, probably.
I think it will work out very well.
I mean, again, I always get this mixed thing where I think that things could have gone differently if these guys had gotten support from the larger convention scene in Wisconsin over the past several years, where they could have naturally grown. But now, right now at their point where they're putting on their 4th convention, and it's still a one-day con at a college, and they want to grow bigger. And frankly, the fall's a really good time now that, like, I would say late September, early October would be a really good time for an Anime Con in Milwaukee, because Fusion's in the Twin Cities in mid to late October.
Yep, 3rd weekend in October usually.
But they're geographically far enough away where there shouldn't be, as long as they're not on the same weekend, it should be a problem for them. And with GeekCon moving to August, where it used to be in September, but now is in August, with DaishoCon being the weekend before Thanksgiving in November, like, I think that, like, right there at the end of September, early October is a really good spot for a Southern Wisconsin convention.
I agree.
So, and everybody knows that anything that happens in Wisconsin is far superior to any event that happens south of Wisconsin. So that's why I don't even remember that Ramen Con exists, which is in September usually, down in Merrillville, Indiana.
We're going to get an angry letter for that one.
Hey, let me tell you a few things about Ramen Con.
I've never been there. They gave me a shot glass their first year.
I've been there. I went there the first year, and actually it was a perfectly fine convention. Like, it was perfectly well run. I have issues with their Artist Alley registration, where for years you had to, like, know the secret handshake, where if you read the website, you'd reload and reload and reload. It's Artist Alley registration's not open yet. It's not open yet. It's not open yet. It's full. Like, literally, the form, and they're jury selected. It's not like they're first come, first serve like ASEN. They're jury selection. So, like, it was only last year that I was able to actually try to register. And that was the year I got rejected from conventions from Artist Alleys while being an artist guest at other conventions. Life is weird.
Riddle me that one, Batman.
Hey, can I give a quick shout out while we're talking about small conventions in the area? I do want to give a quick shout out to what I was doing just this last weekend. I'm sorry it's not on the docket, but I did want to give a quick shout out.
How dare you, Nick?
I apologize for not putting Evercon on the docket.
Well, we're talking about some small cons. Another one that I absolutely love that I haven't been able to go to in the past couple of years, and I regret it so much, is there's this great little event in Wausau, or one of the Wausau suburbs anyway, at the D.C. Everest Middle School called Evercon.
You say Wausau suburbs?
Yeah, more or less.
Sentence
I know.
Doesn't make sense.
Isn't Wausau a suburb, though?
You need to understand.
Well, no, Wausau's not a suburb
Wisconsin,
because it's independent.
You don't understand how central Wisconsin works. Central Wisconsin doesn't really. We have big, like population centers, and then smaller parts that more or less make up part of it but aren't officially part of it. That's how Stevens Point is. Stevens Point has Whiting and Plover. They might as well all be Stevens Point, but they're not. And it's the same thing with Wausau. There's a bunch of little places around it, like Rothschild and some other places, that are not officially Wausau, but might as well be. That is central Wisconsin.
We believe you.
So Evercon was good?
Evercon is amazing. I can't. Here's the thing. I can't emphasize this part enough. It's organized by the gaming club at their middle and high school. Most of the people setting it up, like, they have their teachers who are advising and helping along the way, but most of the setup is being done by, like, middle school students.
Well, it's a convention that rose out of the ashes of, it kind of grew up when WestCon shut down.
And
like, WestCon was at Wausau West High School, and then when that shut down, Evercon got founded at DC Everest, which kind of filled in the gap.
But here's the thing, like, honestly, Evercon has, like, tighter organization than a lot of cons I've seen run by older people. It's amazing. It's super fun. It's small, but it's small in the best sort of way. And the kids going there are more sincerely enthusiastic about things than I see at bigger cons. And it just re-energized me on so many levels. I ran into several of our listeners there, too.
Oh, right on.
Who did you run into?
Zero. I met Zero in person. I know what he looks like now.
One of our Hall of Awesome members.
One of the first people in the Hall of Awesome.
One of the original Hall of Awesome members. I ran into Zero.
Okay, so is Zero a guy or a girl?
He is a guy.
Okay.
He likes remaining mysterious, but I can say that he did buy one of Raina's old Sailor Moon figures from me. So that's
it's important to know the gender of names when I say them.
So that is. I saw Zero. I also ran into Shameless Otaku.
Also in the Hall of Awesome.
Also from the Hall of Awesome. Got to hang out with him. He treated me to lunch, and I'm very thankful for that.
Our listeners never treat me to lunch. What the hell?
We had treat me to lunch either.
Trey, why don't we ever get lunch?
I don't know.
What? Wow. Oh.
But Evercon is one of the best things ever. I had a lot of fun. Raina was also there selling art, and she had a lot of fun. We saw a lot of great people. Cannot wait to go back. It was fantastic.
If it makes you feel any better, I've treated you to lunch.
You have, Trey.
I've treated Nick to lunch.
Yes, you have. I appreciate that.
No one's treated me to lunch.
Trey, I will buy you lunch at No Brand. How does that sound?
I make more money than you, I think.
You
have a kid to raise.
Yeah, I can still buy you lunch every now and then.
There's no Denny's in Eau Claire.
No, but we've got Perkins, which is Denny's Light.
That was the other highlight of my trip to Evercon. Was my hotel shared its parking lot with Denny's.
Nice.
So yeah, it was perfect.
Score.
I got to finish a very good day of selling things and immediately go to Denny's. It was perfect. It was literally perfect.
You know, why doesn't Denny's advertise themselves as the con restaurant?
I don't know if they should.
They should.
I think they're the best. Like my favorite Denny's experiences are always at conventions.
Right?
Agreed.
It's always the best.
And Denny's, I mean, I live pretty close to a Denny's.
Oh, I would never want to go to a Denny's unless I was at a con. Are you kidding me? Like, why would I go to Denny's unless I'm at a convention?
Well, because sometimes you've had everything off the IHOP menu too many times.
I suppose. I don't have an IHOP here, though. So
IHOP's got much better pancakes.
I agree.
I still have an
IHOP.
I don't have a Denny's.
But, oh, man, I love IHOP.
Awesome.
I just had IHOP yesterday.
Good that Evercon was a lot of fun, though.
They got, like, that unlimited pancakes meals right now. At IHOP, it's great.
Is IHOP on our sponsor list? Did we add them as a sponsor?
I don't know.
Hulu's on
IHOP, please sponsor us. I'll talk about you all the time.
Seriously, we will. IHOP, please sponsor us. Just send us free pancake certificates maybe once a month.
Or just send
me
pancakes.
If you do the survey, you'll get a free short stack, and you can, like, keep spinning those off.
Yeah, but I feel like if we had them as a sponsor, like I would gladly wear like an IHOP hat and then like eat the pancakes while the podcast.
I will put IHOP up on my wall here.
Yeah, seriously, I will replace
right
my
behind
Portal
me.
Nouveau poster with an IHOP thing.
So
Make it
IHOP,
happen, IHOP.
You know what to do.
Hit us
You know
up.
what to do.
Hit us up. We'd
It'll
love
be
to
like
be
IHOP
sponsored.
right next to Bishonen Riker here.
That's he's got Superman eyes from DC's Justice League Doom. That's
my
animation
Riker
that came
Pez
out a few years
dispenser.
ago.
Guys, we've got one more thing on the docket. We can do it.
We can. So yeah, that's Nezumi Con. Nezumi Con now officially part of Anime Milwaukee's parent organization. Good luck to you guys. We wish for good things for you. So, and now finally, our final story tonight. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited for this. The best present we all got for Christmas, dated December 24th.
I've never been so excited in my life.
Yeah! We have a Masters of the Universe reboot script. Is finished. It's done. Kick-Ass 2 director Jeff Wadlow signed on to rewrite the script and possibly direct the movie. And we know now, as of December 24th, and this was just released earlier this year, that the script is finished and ready to go. Although, I will say, it also has writing credits from the guys that wrote Predators, The Lone Ranger, and The Equalizer. So take that with a grain of salt.
Oh, God.
Why do we need this? Why are we getting this? Why is this happening?
We've already beat every other 80s franchise to
Well,
death. Let's do this one.
Think about this. How old do you have to be to actually like remember Masters of the Universe, like the original show? You got to be my age.
Yeah, I don't remember it. That was before my time.
It was off the air before you were born.
When did it
You
go
were
off
born
air?
in 1989.
Yeah. Was it like 86, 87 it went off air?
Oh, before that.
Really?
We're talking like 83.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's
Like-
really old school, and it
Like
is.
I know because I was living in Chicago when I was watching it and playing He-Man. And I moved to Milwaukee in 1987.
Some of Filmation's best work, really.
J. Michael Straczynski wrote for it.
No, it actually did have some really good writers working on it. I'm not even kidding in that regard. And I have a sincere respect for Filmation, despite the fact that I make fun of it on a regular basis.
And remember, the live-action movie, which
With
I
Dolph
did not watch
Lundgren?
till I was much older. I was a kid watching this, and we went to go see the He-Man movie, and my brother was probably too young for it, and we went in, and it had an after-credits scene where Skeletor pops out of the water and like says, "I'll be back" or something, and my little brother, who was like maybe like 3 or 4, turned around and went running, screaming out of the theater. So I didn't get to see He-Man. I didn't get to see Masters of the Universe in the theater when I was a kid. I was very sad and mad about it for years. Still am. But that movie has Robert Duncan McNeil and Courtney Cox in it. Robert Duncan McNeil, of course, you will know from as Tom Paris in Star Trek Voyager. And Courtney Cox from, marrying David Arquette. I don't know.
And it's a pretty fantastically awful movie. I mean, it really is.
It was such a bizarre film. Billy Barty's in there, too.
Jesus.
Playing the stand-in for Orko. He's playing a different character. But they couldn't do Orko because it was the 80s and he was a floating thing.
Also,
oh my
He-Man deflects a bunch of dudes' lasers so that they should hit them straight in the junk. It's such a great movie.
Well, okay, so the garbage thing about that movie is that they took them to modern-day Earth for no good reason. Which, like, Masters of the Universe is just a Conan ripoff with toys.
Right.
Like, that's literally how it's supposed to be. So they could have just made a straight Conan-esque movie with Dolph Lundgren.
But
I'm
instead
sure it would
they
have been
decided to go
terrible.
all Beastmaster 2 with it.
And it would have been a terrible film, but it would have been true to the source material for not that much money. And instead, they took it to Earth because some studio executive thought, but oh my god, Frank Langella as Skeletor. Frank Langella. Frank Langella is such a talented... Like,
I'd see it
he's
just for
Ostap
that.
Bender in 12 Chairs. He's Ostap Bender.
Yeah, he's great. He's hot in that movie. Are you kidding me? Young Frank Langella? Woo!
Oh,
Be still
yeah.
my beating hearts.
And like years later, when he was on Deep Space Nine as a Bajoran politician trying to take over the station, he was also excellent in that. But Frank Langella is so wasted as Skeletor.
It really is this really bizarre movie, and I like I said before, it's that special kind of awful that's fun to watch, but incredibly disappointing when you think about what they could have done with it.
Oof.
But now we get to see what another stab at it's going to look like because we have a new script.
Every remake of Masters of the Universe has failed. The 2002 cartoon bombed. Horrible ratings.
The 90s
Terrible
cartoon,
ratings.
it wasn't even good. It deserved its bad ratings.
They have tried to bring back this series time and time again, and it has had none of the success that it did in the 80s in any of its incarnations. And now, when your main movie-going audience is really between 18 to 34, but it takes a 34-year-old to remember the damn series, to have any nostalgia, this is like Lone Ranger all over again, where the people who might be nostalgic for the property are also the least likely to go see it.
It's true. You know, the thing is, I actually have a really big soft spot for everything related to Masters of the Universe. I mean, as Trey well knows, I grew up on reruns of 80s cartoons, and even now I have several of the DVD sets, and I put them in for a good laugh. But yeah, I'm not that excited to see what they'll do, because I'm worried it's going to just be another really bland, modern retelling all over again. I don't know. I mean, the original wasn't that good, to be perfectly honest, but...
Well, no, it was the beginning of the toy commercial cartoons. It's literally what launched the toy commercial cartoons.
Mm-hmm. But...
Yeah.
There is no but. That's just it.
But...
Skeletor!
I did enjoy the Skeletor segments on the Will Wheaton project when that existed.
Dude, my favorite He-Man things are Anytime Robot Chicken. Like, my favorite one is Molar, Eternian Dentist.
That was a really good one.
So good.
Well,
so dumb.
That's such a He-Man name, though. Like,
right?
Yeah.
like Roboto. Do you know what he was?
He was a robot.
He was a robot. You know
Manny
what Fisto
faces.
was? He had a big metal fist, and he punched.
And Molar would be the dentist.
Right.
It's perfect.
Stinkor?
It is absolutely perfect.
Smelled bad. Thanks to patchouli
Everyone's-
oil. The toy actually smelled bad.
Jeez, why?
I don't know
Perfect.
how I feel about that.
Okay, let's move on to the mailbag.
Man-E faces
I love
had
Manny
many
faces.
faces.
I love that guy. He was the original Quintesson.
I had that toy. I had, like, Tornado, who, like, had the little, like... Oh, Cyclone. Cyclone was his name. Where I had Mechanic, his neck extended. Like, what is the most useless special ability ever? Mechanic. My neck gets long, so I'm easier to kill.
Eternia is a stupid place. Eternia
Who
is
built
a really
Mechanic's neck?
stupid-
Oh, let's not go
Who
there.
thought
This is a silly
this is a
place.
good idea?
Oh, dear God.
Who goes, I need a mechanical neck that can stretch. I'm going to go get that elective surgery.
Like I said, let's not go to Eternia. It's a silly place.
So we should move on to the mailbag.
We've
Let's
got
do the
mailbag.
We got a lot of mail this
We got a lot of
episode.
mail. Should we let's take random ramblings man's letters
Oh,
first, shall we?
We were going to start with Capito,
Oh, were we?
they're in the
we
order.
were, that's right. Yeah.
and I'm going to read
Let's
the
do
first.
it.
Okay.
All right, because we pretend like this is spontaneous.
Oh,
But-
okay.
It's really not.
It's
We write out a
formulaic.
plan. All right.
Ew.
So, starting out, David Capito wrote us, subject, Nerd and Ty's thoughts on the Oscars. Hello, you peoples! We're getting closer to Oscar season, which is one of my favorite seasons, in quotes. In my memory, nerdy movies generally don't get a lot of respect at the Oscars, but with Marvel's Captain America and Guardians and Spider-Man, I guess. Do you think that might change? Thanks, David Capito.
No.
I think he's signing it thanks. I don't think he's not making us thank him in the letter.
If anything, like Guardians is probably going to get nominated for like visual effects.
Yeah.
Because
Pretty much.
that's the one thing they throw us the bone that it's going to be visual effects, but then the visual effects award will go to a family movie anyway. So
Yeah. It's going to be a long time before superhero movies are taken seriously by the Academy. Although I feel like at this point, because I feel like Disney, if they so chose, could make a hell of a push to get get Marvel's movies considered. I think if they have enough money to wage a huge for-your consideration campaign to at least get it out there that they want these movies to be considered in certain awards. Do I think that we're going to see...
But it wouldn't really gain them anything other than the prestige. I mean, people are going to put their money toward it anyway, whether it gets an award or not.
Yeah,
so.
and that's pretty much it. There really isn't a need for them to go out and try to get these awards, but they could if they wanted.
I feel like a little kid because this is one of those Oscar years where pretty much all I saw in theaters were the nerdy movies. So pretty much the only category where I'm going to have seen more than one movie is going to be animated picture. That's like
yeah,
I'm going to have seen everything in Best Animated, and that's probably it.
I mean, Lord of the Rings won Oscars.
To be fair, though, there really wasn't anything else out that year that Return of the King won 13.
Also, it got Return of the King probably got Best Picture to throw them a bone for the whole series because
Well, yeah, no, it's time and time again genre films get ignored in the Oscars, and it's entirely to do with the fact that the people who judge the Oscars are the Academy, and you're talking about a bunch of film industry people who don't give a crap about nerdy properties. And so
these are the same people who think a discussion on modern film must contain, why are there so many superhero movies?
Well, this is the interesting thing. It's when the Oscars were created, when the Academy Awards were created, the big films that came out would get awards. Mm-hmm. But in our lifetimes, blockbuster films, unless they've got some feel-good message like, Forrest Gump, which had a ton of money in special effects, but really wasn't any sort of genre film. They get completely ignored. It's the biggest movies that keep Hollywood in business. The movies that most of America wants to go see are the ones that are going to be ignored entirely by its own awards that exist within the category. And it's baloney, because who judges what's best? It's the entire concept of what's a good film and what's a bad film is so removed from what people actually want to watch, that it's an elitist, pretentious bullcrap. And it's true we have this is annoying anti-intellectual movement in the United States, but this doesn't have anything to do with it because smart people like these movies that aren't getting awards as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah,
it's unfortunate, but I mean, thankfully we do have things like People's Choice Awards. We've got Saturn Awards. We've got I mean, it's almost every major publication has an awards thing now that they give out, which is typically given out to the blockbuster movies that people have seen. So
we gave out awards.
We did.
Just last episode.
We sure did.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much our take on the Oscars, Capito. Yup.
All right, what letter's next?
Random Ramblings Man.
All right, I will do both of
his
Link's players. So his first one says, "Greetings from a particularly cold, snowy, and rainy Massachusetts, Nerd and Tie. Hope your start to 2015 was a nice one, gentlemen. My heart goes out to Fur and Trey. I hope you guys are feeling better compared to last time. I think Trey might be, but I'm still in immense amounts of pain.
I'm healthy.
I will be healthy. Give me about a week and a half. I found myself agreeing with your picks for best and worst of 2014, but I'd like to toss in my own picks. Largely on the good side of things. While Guardians of the Galaxy is my best film of 2014, for me, Christopher Nolan's Interstellar comes damn close to tying with Guardians for me for its superb cast, stunning visual effects, and Hans Zimmer's sweeping score. There are very few films that make me as emotional as Interstellar did. If you guys haven't seen it, I strongly recommend it, at least one viewing to see how it feels for you. In the realm of video games, I'd say my favorite of 2014 was Creative Assembly's Alien Isolation. While it is guilty of dragging on and having several points where it could have ended without losing anything, the game itself is a very effective survival horror with a deadly smart alien, beautifully designed environments, and what I consider its best feature, helps to further flesh out the Alien universe in a way that hasn't been seen since Aliens and Alien 3. But looking ahead to 2015, we've got a smorgasbord of nerdy things to look forward to. Whether our optimism for them is justified will have to be seen. For now, hope the weather is better down there than it is here. Until next time, stay random, gentlemen. Yeah, 2015 has a lot of good things coming out, and we kind of talked about it earlier on. I think what we were all kind of thinking would something we were looking forward to, the Squirrel Girl comic.
Yes,
is
yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that.
And weather, though, we just had an ice storm here in central Indiana.
We've had bitter cold in Wisconsin. I mean, we were down to about 30, 40 below there for a couple
but it's way less cold these last couple days, though. So I'm not.
I gotta look at a map, but I don't think he's saying down. He's saying down there. I don't think you guys are south of him.
In Massachusetts, I think we're pretty much right along the right along the same latitude.
Yeah, I'm south of him. Because I'm in Indiana.
Right,
but
we're
isn't
along the
that
same
what
latitude.
matters?
Down there, he meant down there in our hearts, you guys. Come on.
Indeed.
Come on, Trey. Geographically, he meant our hearts. God.
Yeah, actually, he is definitely south of you. He's definitely south of you. Oh.
Yeah, but truthiness...
One second. We lost the audio for a second here, so I got to fix it. Video viewers.
I'm going to dance for you.
All right. Video viewers, we love you too. And this is why the video is technically going to be... All right. I think our hearts are important, but I think geographically it's more important. And I'm done hiding the cut now. So.
Oh, okay, so I can stop dancing. Great! Yes. Cool. Moving on to the second letter from Random Ramblings Man. He writes, "Sorry for the dual mailbags this week, gentlemen, but so much happened since I wrote the last one that I couldn't help but reflect on these events. Let's start with the good, because starting with the bad seems to be in bad taste. I can definitely say that I'm in love with Agent Carter, and that the latest television entry in the MCU is off to a strong start. I can't wait to see what surprises the show throws our way. And aside from being awesome, the Ant-Man teaser has alleviated some of my previous concerns with the shuffling of creative staff. I'm so going to try and see Age of Ultron and Ant-Man back-to-back. Now on to the bad. Although I'm not what I'd call a huge fan of Ghost in the Shell, it still stands as an anime I think of fondly as a masterwork of cyberpunk. It came as a complete shock to me to find out that DreamWorks is making a live-action adaptation and casts Scarlett Johansson as the lead. Now, while I think very highly of Miss Johansson as an actress, I have very little confidence in live-action anime adaptations, and I'm frustrated that they seem to be whitewashing the character of Motoko Kusanagi. Let's end with the weird, which is the announcement of the Gambit solo film starring Channing Tatum. That's right, that was this week.
There was just too much news.
How to feel about it, since the Gambit that showed up in Origins Wolverine felt so underwhelming. But then again, so did most everything in that film.
That film did not occur. I don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up. I had so much fun every time I saw that movie 5 times at the budget theater. That was $10 well spent. Though I've seen some good performances out of Tatum, I'm going to reserve a good or a bad tag until we get more information. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, stay random, gentlemen. You know what?
I like Channing Tatum.
I do too.
I like him.
He's such a he doesn't ever take himself seriously, which I love. Which I think we need for
he'll
Gambit.
play the Brett Favre version of Gambit.
The Brett Favre version of Gambit.
That's my theory.
Explain.
Well, Brett Favre is from Louisiana.
Yeah,
Gambit's from
Mississippi.
Louisiana.
Brett Favre
Channing
is from
Tatum's
Mississippi.
built like him. What?
Brett Favre was from Mississippi.
Close enough.
Biloxi. Thank you very much.
Close enough. Who cares? He can't pronounce his own goddamn name.
Brett Favre.
Favre.
Yeah,
Brett Favre.
my grandpa would agree 100% with you,
R.E..
Trey. Yeah, he can't pronounce his damn name.
So,
And I mean that in a
I'm-
good way. I think highly of my grandpa.
I'm excited for the. Channing Tatum can do the entire movie dancing around shirtless, and it'd be a good movie.
Well, like we were saying before, you can make a franchise with just X-Men movies. In fact, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is probably better off without X-Men in it. I'll say that. I'm going to go so far as to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it is it works better independently because with the X-Men you get this baggage about oppression, which then you've got to... It always has been an uneasy fit with the rest of the Marvel Universe.
Because everyone loves every other superhero until they're a mutant.
Yeah. And it's so... Yeah, no, it's... I'm all for the separation of the maintained separation of the mutant side from the rest of the Marvel Universe. And to, anybody at all who doesn't like that, they can sit on it or something.
Yeah. You tell him, Fonzie.
Or,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. I hate you both.
I'm down with that.
This is what my hell is like. That and simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Playing back the fucking band.
I will say that I'm really pleased. My daughter picked
I
that
hope we
CD
get a
out.
cease and desist order so we never play that song ever again.
Gee, Nick, sounds like you're gonna hate.
Yeah, I am gonna hate because it's a crappy song.
It's a good song. It's got
It's
a
a
good
great
beat.
song.
I
It's got
wanna
a good
clarify,
hook.
I have a profound respect for Taylor Swift and her ability to write so much of her own music. I think that's really great of her. I don't like that song, and I never
It's
will.
got a solid hook with a brass line in there, man. It's
It's a brass line that sounds like someone's just farting through the whole thing.
Okay.
That's the whole song for me.
My years of music education, and I'm gonna slowly strangle you with my brain. Read an Archimai's letter or something.
I think I will. All right. Hey, nerds who wear ties in the future 2015. Well, you guys talk a lot about Western cartoons on the show. You haven't talked much about one series in particular, Avatar. About a month back now, The Legend of Korra concluded with a truly groundbreaking finale. It was a show that had a lot to live up to after The Last Airbender, and after an okay start and a rocky second season, the series finished off with 2 excellent seasons. It's a series that has definitely raised the bar for what children and young adult entertainment should aspire to be. Korra's journey includes many challenging topics such as class inequality, civil war, control versus anarchy, tradition versus change. She personally struggles with living a sheltered life, trouble with her family, having the responsibility of the Avatar, and even PTSD after a particularly devastating event. Her struggles are not easy ones, but it is incredible to see a character face them and overcome. It's a minor spoiler, but Korra also has the distinct honor of being the first LGBT protagonist in a Western animation. From the high quality of animation, the fantastically creative world, and the expertly crafted characters, the show demonstrated that the world was ready for shows of higher caliber. Unfortunately, the official word seems to be that the franchise has come to an end, but the journey we got was certainly an amazing one. I wish the creators the best in their future endeavors, and I highly recommend The Legend of Korra to anyone who likes the very best television has to offer. Oh, sorry, I also have a question. Even if you lived in the world of Avatar, what element would you be? Earth, fire, air, water, or none? Thanks for letting me share my thoughts. Also, hope you feel better, Fur. Till next time, Arkham Eyes.
Well, first off, Firebender all the way. Fire Nation represent. But I think as I'm not somebody that's really been keeping up with Korra. I saw the first season, saw a little bit of the second season, but unfortunately haven't been able to keep up with it. But as somebody who identifies as pansexual, it was, to me, it was really cool to see that there was a bisexual character in
that was
as a protagonist.
Fantastic.
It was amazing, and I love that's what
as the
happened.
main protagonist. It's not just a protagonist. The main character.
The main protagonist. That even the creators have said no, she's bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
Like not even that she's lesbian, and which I've seen some people say like, oh no, she ended up with a woman, that means she's lesbian, but she dated men in the show too.
Two bisexual characters.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
Which is incredible, I think, because I think bisexual erasure is a problem.
Yeah, and we all know the
media.
only difference between bisexuals and pansexuals is pansexuals are also attracted to the classic Greek mythology faun.
I've got, dude, all the time, like, don't even go into my bedroom, like, Pan is everywhere.
He's
like,
got
it's
a
really
fife.
weird. It's a little weird.
Fifing. I do something called fifing. I can't talk about it because it's a family show. But
God, why? Jesus.
But I think it was super cool to see bisexual.
Can we get hashtag fifing a thing now?
Fifing, right?
Can it not be a thing?
But I love that it was two openly bisexual characters ended up together, and that people are not erasing it and saying no they're lesbians because they ended up together. No,
there are people erasing it. They're just
no, I know there are. There's always going to be people. There's always going to be
the
people.
creators have come out and said that they're canonically bisexual. They wanted to. They literally put it as far as Nickelodeon would let them take it on screen.
Yep.
And it has nothing to do with what Nickelodeon thinks is okay for like American audiences. It's just because they're trying to export the show to countries where open displays of homosexuality are illegal. So it's all about money. So, but the very fact that they were letting them make them canonically bisexual in the official canon, that even though it's going to get like glossed over in some other countries just to make it past the censors,
they had to do that with Adventure Time a little bit too.
Yeah, with Marceline and Princess Bubblegum.
Yeah, but I think it's an important. I think it's the beginning. I think we need more. I think that it's idiotic that people try to argue that the characters aren't bisexual. That's weird and stupid to me. But yeah, you see, the problem is I actually didn't really watch Avatar, let alone Legend of Korra. So it's like I never really watched either one of those series. I had friends who always were really into Avatar. So like people talk about Fire Nation, and I'm like,
Avatar is a fantastic series. I didn't finish Korra. Because the second season really turned me off of it.
That's why I kind of stopped watching too. Is because second season just lost me.
Like I mean that's not even fair because I didn't even get to finish season 1, and someone showed me part of season 2, and that just really was a real downer for me. But I talked to Arkham Eyes a lot, and at least I know he's gonna lend me the DVD so I can finally power through it and have a fair opinion.
I have an opinion about fairs.
Oh, to answer a question for my element, I'm torn because people tell me that I act Earth Elemental, but I practice Taiji Chuan, or at least I used to, which is what waterbending was based on. So,
Well, for me, I am going to answer this question only because I feel like answering every question, and because astrologically I'm a triple Virgo because I was born at dawn on a new moon. So my sun, rising, and moon signs are all the same, and that's an Earth element sign, so I'm going to go with Earth.
Earthbending. Very cool.
Earthbending's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah.
I know nothing about the series, but I'm just going with that because of my hippy-dippy astrological knowledge.
You could eventually include metal bending, too. Not many people can do that, though. So there is your answer. That's the most Avatar discussion we've done on the show, but hopefully we can do more in the future.
Well,
I think so. Well, I'd be interested to see if they're gonna actually do another series, or if this will be the end.
If they did, they'd have to go pretty modern with it, though. Like they had a very realistic progression of time in their universe, and yeah,
that or maybe a prequel series. It'd be kind of cool to see some of the older avatars, in terms of their storylines and whatnot.
That's one of those things I like. Even the Avatar writers, though, that's something that I worry about. I'm always afraid of thing that seems mythical that I know very little about, and then finding out what it is, and it's horribly disappointing. I call that Clone Wars syndrome.
Well, everything's cooler when you only know a little bit about it, and it's hinted at. Like Boba Fett was cooler before we knew he was a clone of Jango Fett.
Yeah, exactly. That's part of Clone Wars syndrome.
Yeah.
Or my images of the Time War were a lot cooler before I saw actual Time Lords with bazookas, and then I just
Right.
Right? No, the Time War was something completely different in my head than like, oh, you mean there was actually like a war fought with guns and stuff?
I choose to believe because the Time Lords at the beginning of the 50th anniversary said they had used up all of their other super weapons, that all of the stuff in my head still happened. They were just out of super weapons at that point.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's the point, is that it's the Time Lords running out of everything. I think that's actually supposed to be established canon, like, because when you talk about things like the Cruciform and all that stuff, that all happened before. Like, when 8 regenerated into the War Doctor, the Time War had been raging for a while.
Right.
And the universe was already being ripped apart at that point. So actually, your headcanon is pretty much the canon. Excellent.
That makes me feel better.
You just have to pay attention to the dialogue to pick up on that stuff. Because they did slip it in there.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that's more or less where I developed it from. So, I mean, it was.
So we should move on to our final segment, because it's a long episode. And that is the Vomit Hat Steve Challenge. Hooray.
Huzzah.
All right, so the Vomit Hat Steve Challenge, for those of you who are unaware, is that every episode I read a portion of a book. And if you can guess what book that is, you get included in our Hall of Awesome. The benefits of the Hall of Awesome are as follows. That's it. Nothing. But you do get your name read aloud every episode, where we point out that you are awesome and in the Hall of Awesome. So that's it. That's your benefit. The current members of the Hall of Awesome are Archimize Zero, Rena Innocenti, Cheesy McDamn, Christos, Slithery D, Shameless Otaku, The Random Ramblings Man, Corfan, Capito, and Chris Graham. Those are the members of the Hall of Awesome. So
you guys are good at guessing, and you have good book knowledge.
Or in Archimize's case, he cheated. But so what I'm going to do now is read a line from the book. I've been using the same book for the last handful of episodes, and I'm going to keep using it now. So I'm going to read a line for the book right now.
Oh yeah.
His gaze slid to Alexandra and back before he answered. There's really not much to see. If you can tell us what book that was, go to nerdandtie.com and click on the contact form. Tell us the title of the book and the author. And if you're right, you'll be included in the Hall of Awesome. If you're wrong, I might accidentally read your letter out loud, not realizing it was a guess.
Yeah, like we did last
once
time.
Before.
That was great because my girlfriend was like, "No, that was the guess," and I'm like, "Oh, it just said lamp on it. I don't."
It was the lamp. Like
lamp.
this is. We ask for an author, folks. Include the author. That way we know it's a book, even if you're wrong. Because like if you're just like Steve, we don't know. So. Yeah, or if you have anything else you want to write into us, go to nerdandtie.com and click on the contact form and tell us what you're thinking, what you like, whether you think that Fur looks silly wearing a headset, whether or not you like Nick's picture that we use on the video where he looks revolted and confused by everything we're saying in our group shot.
You know, the rest of that picture has me in it, too.
No, it doesn't.
That's not the important part.
No, I just think it's really... That's why he might be confused and revolted, is because I'm also in that picture.
Oh, okay. And tell us what you think about Shamra, who's always right down there in our corner. But really, your opinions on anything, we'd love to hear it. We will read it out loud if it makes sense. And
is appropriate to read on air.
Yeah. Or if we think we won't get sued. But we want to hear from you.
We do. We like hearing from you guys. You're pretty great.
We love all of you people. You are our
Except you. You know, you out there, you know that one.
Yeah, stink butt.
And Random Ramblings Man, who sat in the chat room all episode this one while we live streamed on a different day than normal.
He's great. Props to Random Ramblings Man.
Props to Ramblings Man, the only man in our chat room today.
Oops. Oh well.
But yeah.
So we essentially did all that video stuff for just him.
Well, no, more people watch it on YouTube afterwards.
It's true.
Okay. That's true, yeah.
So we should probably take it home,
well,
Nick.
Yeah,
with
bring us
that,
home,
I guess
Nick.
it's time to wrap things up. Sorry about that. I think it's for us to head back from the Nerdadome. As always, I am Nick Izumi.
I'm Trey Dorn.
And I'm Firsters.
And this was Nerd and Tie.
Remember to subscribe to us on both iTunes and Stitcher, where you can download the subscribe to us on iTunes or download the Stitcher app for both iOS and Android, and rate and review us. Rate and review us. Tell us how great we are, because we have fragile egos.
And don't forget to swing by nerdandtie.com throughout the week for all of your nerd news.
And don't forget, I will be at Nezumi Con January 24th at the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design in downtown Milwaukee.
And don't forget to eat your vegetables.
And don't forget that Fur's recovering from surgery.
Never forget.
Never forget.
Never surrender.
What?
Say your line, Nick.
Keep on spocking in the free world.
There we go, and we're out.